been collecting keyboards of all different shapes, sizes, and switches. As someone who edits, codes, writes, as well as games, keyboards are essentially my best friend. I'm always looking for what keyboard is going to give me the best experience, what is going to make me play a little bit better, and overall what's going to give me the better performance slash ergonomics. So today I'm going to show you my keyboard collection that I have currently, some of my favorites and my go-tos. Just as a note, I don't have all of the keyboards with me today since most of them are in storage. So the keyboard collection is actually much bigger than this, but these are the ones that have traveled with me to my apartment that I moved into back in March. So the first keyboard that I got when I first started this journey was the kron K2 with Gateron G Pro blue switches. I'd heard a lot about blue switches from the gaming community, a lot about their clickiness, and the way that they feel is really, really solid. So I decided to take the plunge for it. I mainly edited on this back in 2019, and it has been a really, really big workhorse for me. I gamed on it just a little bit, but I really loved how loud the switches were and how they felt at the very beginning. It's a super simple 84 key layout, and it's a little squished in, but it's very, very compact. You can use this wired or wireless through Bluetooth, and it supports both Mac OS and Windows. So I was able to switch back and forth between both of my systems fairly easily. Sticking on the route of kron, I wanted something a little different, a different layout, some different switches, since the blue switches were great, but the actuation point and the actuation force needed for blue switches were a little heavy for me. So I then went for the kron K8. This is now a different layout with an 87 key, and it has the Gateron brown switches instead. I definitely like this layout a lot better since 87 key is a little bit more spread out. The arrow keys are separated away from the rest of the keyboard, and my words per minute honestly definitely increased with this being a little bit more spread out. And the brown switches, they're a nice in between the blue switches and red switches, so they're tactile as well as linear. The tactile feedback you get back from browns are awesome, and the sound itself is actually really, really great. So this keyboard was a big workhorse for me, especially when I started my coding journey. And so it was at this point that I knew, after working with the K8 for a little bit, I started looking into custom keyboards. I realized that mechanical keyboards weren't just off the shelf. You can actually customize them and get different switches and just use it and customize it the way that you want it to. And so I found Sam from SM Keyboards on Instagram. We started chatting up, and he had commissions open. So I'd commissioned a keyboard through him, and this is the end result. A fully custom keyboard using his own case. We have some Ronin keycaps at the very, very top. It's using a brass plate in between. It's using the KBD Fans KBD67 Rev 2 board, and it has koala switches. Koalas were my stray away from normal Cherry MX switches, which are being the blues, the reds, and the browns. I never knew that there were other switches, and when he started using koalas in my keyboard, I went crazy. The feel on them were great. The thocky sound on these were amazing, and the typing experience overall was great. It was easy for me to remap this keyboard over to a Mac OS layout, so that way I had the command and option keys properly set right next to the spacebar. But I definitely use this a lot, especially during COVID when I first got it. All through 2020, this was my main keyboard when it came to programming, editing, and writing scripts for YouTube videos. I might start using this again. Shit, I missed this. And then going through my custom mechanical keyboard phase, once he told me that KBD Fans was the provider of the PCB, I then looked at the KBD Fans website and found that they actually had pre-built custom keyboards that you can customize with what switches they had and, you know, polycarbonated plates or whatever. And then I started going down this deep rabbit hole of looking at custom keys, which then spawned my next purchase of the KBD Fans Tofu 60 custom key. This one was very unique to me, where the whole board itself was made of a clear material. It's RGB all the way through, and I got novelty cream switches in this keyboard. And I gotta say, of the linear switches I've used, aside from red switches, novelty creams are pretty nice. I remember hearing about it when Tfue got his keyboard commissioned out for him, and he used novelty cream, so I was interested not only for gaming, but also for working purposes. Linears are switches that I kind of had an iffy relationship with. I didn't know if I really liked them, but as soon as I got my hands on the novelty creams, I knew I really liked them. I used this keyboard a lot to play video games with. I know a lot of other different gamers like Shazam also used a keyboard with novelty creams, and so during my Valorant phase I definitely used this keyboard a lot, and I gotta say, really nice keyboard, awesome typing experience. It wasn't really friendly with Mac OS, but I used it anyways on my main setup back here. Just had to kind of rework in my head where the command button was, but overall the typing experience with the novelty creams and the Tofu 60% keyboard has been really nice. I usually and occasionally go back to this keyboard from time to time. The next couple of keyboards, we're gonna just do 2 in 1 since these are failed experiments. So these 2 keyboards I don't really use at all since they're kind of bad. They have a lot of dust on them, but I'm gonna do sound tests on them anyways. So we're gonna go over this one first. This is a poker keyboard with Cherry MX silver switches. The reason I got this keyboard, and I got it off of Amazon for pretty cheap, it had silver switches, and at the time I heard about silver switches, they were apparently the fastest switch that you can get, especially for gaming. So I only ever used this for gaming, and I don't really know if I liked the silver switches on this keyboard specifically. The layout was very tight. There were no arrow keys, and I didn't really like that. So the lifespan on this keyboard was very short. So I didn't use it that much. Plus, it didn't even use micro USB. It used like micro USB B, which who uses that anymore? And then the next keyboard, this was also an experiment, kind of expensive, but you know, you don't know unless you try. I got this Galaxy mechanical keyboard kit off of Amazon, and so the board itself is what it came with, just the board. It came with a PCB. It's completely hot swappable, so you can put in whatever switches you want. I decided to go back to koalas, so I put a bunch of koalas in there without lubing them. I don't know if they came pre-lubed. Again, this is just an experiment on my end. I'm a complete noob when it comes to building my own keyboards, although I do plan on building my own keyboard soon. I just got to plan it out better than this one, but I am planning that out. And I got some random Amazon keycaps as well, but it doesn't sound great, it doesn't type well, and so the life on this one didn't really go that far with me as far as using it. But this is a part of my collection now, and it's just a piece that kind of sits up and I get to look at every day, knowing that, well, this was my first custom keyboard that I attempted to build. Kron was a big brand that I didn't work with directly, but it was a brand that I knew for mechanical keyboards, and I used them a ton. These next keyboards I actually started working with and have a direct tie with Newfie. And I'm sure some of you who have been following the channel have seen their keyboards on my TikToks, on my Instagrams, and some of my YouTube shorts recently. But they have been awesome in sending me a lot of their keyboards. This is the first one that they sent me, which is the Newfie Air 75. This is another 84 key layout keyboard, but is a low profile keyboard. So this is my dive into the low profile scene, which I had never done before. The thing about this keyboard, not only is it low profile, but it is completely wireless. So you can also use this Bluetooth. You can switch it back and forth between Mac and Windows, and it has the layout all pre-configured for both of them. So you don't have to worry about that. This specific keyboard came with Reds, and as a programmer and someone who edits, the Reds were actually really, really nice, not super loud, fast actuation point. So I could do my typing and things like that a lot better, a lot faster. And I just had an overall really good typing experience using the Air 75. Not to mention it being low profile, like you could see how skinny it is. It was actually super easy to travel with. So if I ever wanted to be on the go, let's say to a coffee shop or to the office, and I wanted to type on my keyboard, I could definitely bring this with me in my backpack, and it's got a super slim profile, so I don't have to worry about it getting in the way. The next one they sent out to me is actually on the same footprint, same low profile, same super slim design, but this time it's gotten even tinier. This is the Newfie Air 60, which boasts a 64 key layout, so even smaller than the 84, much more compact, but still very, very functional. They sent this to me using the brown Gateron switches, and I gotta say this keyboard got some use definitely for me, especially when it came to traveling and going to the office. This was the easiest keyboard to come with me, since again, you can see the sheer difference in size, but also just in width. You can see the drastic difference. So this takes up less space in your bag. And I have to say, these two on their own are great travel boards. If you do happen to travel a lot and need a mechanical keyboard, I think that these are the absolute way to go. This spawns my productivity arc, I guess you could say. I'm now looking for keyboards that give me the most productivity. And so we're gonna go away from Newfie for a little bit. I still have some of their keyboards now, but I did a video on this recently. The Logitech MX mechanical keyboard is the one that Logitech sent out to me. So shouts out to y'all at Logitech. But this keyboard definitely got some use on my end for a little bit here. Definitely one of the most functional keyboards that I've ever used. If you've ever used any of their MX series mice or keyboard, you know exactly what I'm talking about. At the very top left of the keyboard, you have function buttons that you can switch to 3 different devices. All can be connected through Bluetooth or using the USB receiver that they provide to you, which for me worked really, really well, since I have a bunch of different devices. I have 2 different laptops as well as a desktop, all that have Bluetooth equipped with them. Even an iPad Pro, I could connect this keyboard to all of them and efficiently switch back and forth without having to move a USB receiver around all the time or anything like that. I don't have to change any hardware, just a press of a button and I'm connected. This also has brown switches on them, so the typing experience was definitely an A+ on my end. I definitely love browns. Usually when I go try switches, I always end up back on browns, so this was definitely a really good experience. And now with that, again, I'm on my productivity arc. So Newfie actually came out with another keyboard a little bit after I was sent the MX mechanical keyboard, and they came out with this one, which was my daily driver for quite some time. This is the Newfie Studio Halo 65, so a 65% keyboard, and the build quality on the Newfie Halo series keyboards, I have to say, receive whatever is higher than an A+ from me. Like, I could probably run this over with my car and it probably wouldn't break. The stockiness, the damper kit that comes with this on this board is out of this world. Again, like I said, the build quality is top tier. The keycaps are great. The lighting is awesome. This came with Gateron Browns. And I definitely have to say that I'm in love with the 65% layout. Any layout that has the arrow keys kind of spread across and not compacted into the keyboard is great. Again, this is fully wireless as well, so you can switch it back and forth between macOS and Windows, and it would work perfectly fine. Not to mention that these just look really, really good on your desk. Any desk setup that has a Newfie Halo board, amazing. And they are not even paying me to say this. Like, they just sent this to me for free for an honest review, and I have to say, honestly, if I'm being honest, this is a go-to. And now the next keyboard after the Halo 75 is actually on my desk now that they sent me recently. This right here is the Halo 75, the 83 key version of the Halo 65. This currently is my daily driver, and it is very, very heavy. So again, if you're wanting to travel, I wouldn't recommend traveling with this since this is super heavy. But if this is going to be your daily driver at your workstation, like I have right now, this is an absolute favorite of mine. This is using their new switches that they came out with. The one switch that came in this one is the Rosa Glacier. Definitely a tactile switch. It's a little heavier. It's got black stems. I would say it's similar to the black ink switches. I haven't used them yet, but I would imagine that they were pretty similar. The damper kit again that comes with this is really nice. They have something special with their keyboard that silences the sound of the spacebar, but also makes it sound just a little more thocky. Everything comes pre-lubed, everything is well stabilized, and with it being a 83 key layout, you have more function keys at the very top, and so that definitely helps me with macros or any other functions that I need on my day-to-day use. So this is what I'm rocking right now, and I have to say, as again, if you're a programmer, you write a lot, maybe not gaming, I haven't tried this for gaming yet, but I will try soon, I would recommend this keyboard 100%. Right now, this is what's currently on my desk. This next one is a bit unique. Shouts out to my manager for having this on hand and selling it to me, but this is my first split keyboard, the Zsa Moonlander keyboard. Again, as I mentioned, I've never had a split keyboard before, and this was a definite learning curve for me. I still haven't fully learned how to use it. My words per minute have taken a huge dump just typing on this, but it's gonna be a work in progress. I went from about like 90 to 100 words per minute to around 18 to 20 just using this, but there is a lot of cool functionality with this keyboard. Right now, this comes with red switches. This is hot swappable, so I could theoretically get new switches and change this out for a different feel. There are a lot of remappable keys on this keyboard. As you can see, there's not a lot of other keys that we would normally have on some of the other keyboards that I've shown you previously, which for us are normal keyboards, but this was meant to be a lot more ergonomic. Split keyboards are what enable us to have a little bit more space in our hands, so that way we're not a little cramped up, and ergonomically this is a lot better for you, which is why I was very, very curious about this keyboard. So this is in my collection for now. I am definitely going to give it my all and my best once I'm done reviewing the Halo 75 and giving this a shot as a daily driver, but it definitely doesn't help that I have to learn a lot of the key mapping for this keyboard. So if that's not your thing, stay away from this keyboard, but if you don't try, you don't know. The next and last two keyboards are going to be my gaming phase. These are going to be my purely gaming keyboards, and I do take these very, very seriously. I'm an avid gamer. I play a lot of different games with Overwatch, Valorant, Warzone, Call of Duty, a lot of FPS games. I came from CSGO, so I played a lot of CSGO back in the day, and keyboards are just essentially like what enable you to play at your best. And so gaming keyboards, I always take my time and I only use what I really, really know and love. And so these next two keyboards are my more calculated choices. I've had a lot of gaming keyboards back then, and a lot of them are either broken or in storage right now. The one I've been gravitating to the most right now is the HyperX Alloy Origins keyboard. This is a 65% with red switches. So for gaming, I actually tend to go towards linear switches, and reds just feel the best. Again, silver's iffy, but red switches are the safe bet. And so this one is a really, really solid build. It's got like an aluminum finish on the body, so pretty firm. I like the way it sounds and the way it plays, the way it feels in my hand. It's really, really solid, and I can't really go any more than 65% keyboard since I play at a medium high sense, but when I'm swiping, I tend to hit my keyboard a lot. So the smaller, the better. And last but not least, the best keyboard I think that I have in my gaming arsenal right now is the Highground Sonic keyboard that dropped a couple months ago. I've been kind of shitting on silver switches recently, but the silver switches on this one are actually really, really good. The way that they treat their keyboards, the design, the spacing, the size is really, really dope. But also just look at the design of the Sonic, like just game on the keycaps. Like that is just insane to me. Build quality is good. I like that the USB-C port is in the middle. This allows me to just move the keyboard around and not have to worry about it being too far on the left or on the right. The sound of the silver switches is really, really good. The way that they dampen this keyboard and sound treat it is so good, and the thockiness again on this keyboard is really dope. The one thing I will say that I have to get used to is that the keys are printed on the inside of the keycaps and not on the top. So sometimes, you know, I do touch type a lot, but sometimes when I'm gaming, I get confused and I have to look at where things are and I get a little confused. So that is my only gripe with this keyboard, but this is a daily used keyboard for me. And on the back side, I was 1,530 that got this keyboard. So that was pretty dope. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and got a glimpse of what is in my current keyboard collection. There's going to be definitely more to come into this collection, and I will definitely do videos on all the keyboards that I get in the future. No, this channel is not becoming a keyboard only review channel. I am just doing tech reviews, and right now keyboards are a hot topic for me and I obsess over them because, like I said, keyboards are my best friend. They're how I do my job every single day, and that's how I frag every single day. And so let me know what you guys think about this keyboard collection, and maybe show me yours. Let me know what other keyboards are your favorites in the comments down below. But otherwise, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.